Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Walking the Earth, Turkey. Today, we are at world-famous Ephesus, the Ephes site in Anatolia, in the Aegean region of the Republic of Turkey. So, Ephesus, about 2,000 years ago, was the fourth largest city in the Roman Empire after Rome, Alexandria in Egypt, and Antioch on the Orontes, or Antakya here in the Republic of Turkey. And so it was the fourth largest city. It had approximately 250,000 people living here consistently, but it was also a port city. So it had sailors coming in. It was also a pilgrimage city, a religious center. It was famous for the nearby Temple of Artemis, which was one of the biggest temples in the world and was one of the 7 ancient wonders of the world. Anatolia actually has 2 of the ancient wonders. One of them is down by Bodrum. It's a famous mausoleum of a king. So those are 2 of them. And also the statue of Rhodes was nearby as well, Rhodes. So there were constantly people coming and going to this city. It was very important for the worship of many different gods of the Greeks, the Romans, the Egyptians. There was a strong Egyptian presence here because Egypt was the granary of the Roman Empire. And so there were serious trading links. So there were important Egyptian temples here in Ephesus. Then later, this is also a very important Jewish city with large numbers of Jews living here. Later, it becomes an important Christian center, and there are connections to John, the beloved disciple of Jesus, of Isa alayhi salam, also to Paul, to Timothy, and to Luke, who was the doctor and the author of the book of Luke and Acts, the Gospel of Luke. He was a companion of Paul, who spent a lot of time living here and traveling through this area. So this was a very important site for a number of religions. It was also an important center of philosophy. The great philosopher Heraclitus lived here and spent part of his life living at the Temple of Artemis because he was being threatened with death, and so he had to take refuge there. And he did a lot of important writing there. So this was a center of philosophy, of writing, of the arts. Matter of fact, Ephesus was known for its women artists. So there were a number of famous artists that were women living here in this area. So this was a center of culture, of religion, of philosophy. Also, this city nearby, it had street lighting. The only cities in the ancient world, at least in this part of the ancient world, the Greco-Roman world, that had street lighting would have included Rome, Alexandria, and Ephesus. So we also see cities in this area, including Ephesus, Miletus, Didyma, and Priene, which are in the vicinity. Many of them had grid patterned streets, had sewer systems, had housing with heating and cooling. So this was a quite advanced area that had a big impact on modern developments of city planning, street layouts. It's a very fascinating city and area. Now, like I was saying, this area was a port city, and at some point, like 1,000 years ago, I believe, the river started to silt up, the Little Meander River. So this area is part of, it was part of the Meander Delta, with the big and the small Meander River. Now, the meander, that's where we get the word meander, because the river zigzags, it meanders slowly from upland from here. And so this was a very important area, and then it started to silt up, and by the 1200s, this is no longer a functioning port and harbor area, and we see that places like Miletus and Priene and Ephesus are now inland, and so the people have moved elsewhere from here. So I just wanted to give you a quick little overview of this amazing city of Ephesus that goes back at least 8,000 years, was ruled variously by the Hittites, then later the Lydians, the Greeks. It's ruled by the Romans by Alexander and his people, then the Seleucids, the inheritors of Alexander's empire. I forgot to mention the Persians ruled here for about 200 years. So they had an impact on the area culturally, religiously. So then later we have the Roman Empire, and then its inheritor, the Byzantine Empire. Then the Seljuks take over, and finally the Ottomans, and most recently the Republic of Turkey. So this is a fascinating place, very well worth visiting. So if you get a chance, this is probably one of the greatest Greco-Roman ruin sites in the whole world. And it's quite impressive. This road here leads to what was the harbor, so you would have seafront property up ahead. Behind me, you will see the theater, and this theater could hold 25,000 people, and it's part of the way that they estimate that this place had 250,000 inhabitants at its height. And so this would be where you would have seen, theater and musical performances. I know there was a slave market nearby where they would sell castrated boys, is what I read. So we'll discuss that in other videos, inshallah. But this is a fascinating place. It was very important for Christianity, and nearby we have sites associated with the companions of the cave that are discussed in the Quran, and famous within Eastern Christianity, the seven sleepers story is right by here. Also, there's the house of Mary, because John of Patmos lived here and wrote here on a hillside at Seljuk. According to the stories, he took care of Mary, the mother of Jesus, peace be upon them. And so like I said, this was a very important Christian area, and so it's still a pilgrimage site going back to very ancient times, and many Muslims go and visit the Sleepers Cave to this very day. So if you get a chance, please come and visit this location. It's tremendously valuable for human history, for the study of many different eras of time. It was located along the ancient Silk Road, and it's fascinating. So I'll go ahead and draw this one to a close, but let's consider our ancient history and take care of our ancient sites. Till next time, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.